Alright, guys. So, I did my top 10 of 2022 on Mike's channel, The Real Fifth Beatle, with me, him, and Alexi. So, I just wanted to do a quick rundown of that list, just so I have a video here on the channel with my little top 10 of 2022. Now, I didn't watch as much new releases from last year as I should have, with, the whole starting the channel thing in June, pretty much like end of May, early June. So I was watching a lot of favorites of mine and classics and stuff like that, getting the channel up and going. And then I caught up with a decent amount of recent releases from last year, 2022, like around September, October-ish. So I don't really have like a top worst. I guess the only things I got put in there is like Jeepers Creepers Reborn. Absolutely abysmal. Just like the third movie, just absolute trash. Everything about it. I have nothing good to say. And every movie I'm going to mention here will have a link to my video discussions on them. I think I did one for every single one of them, right? Except for two, I believe. Yeah, except for two of them, and I'll mention them as I go through. But Jeepers Creepers Reborn, just absolutely abysmal. I didn't have any good expectations for it, especially after seeing the third one recently, after ignoring it for years. So when I finally did the series on the channel here, I said, alright, I gotta watch the third one now, being a completist, and just terrible. So if you want to hear like a rant video, I'll link that one down there in the description as well. So the top 10 here, from 10 to 6, basically these can all be rearranged. Like I said, I didn't watch as much as I would have liked to from this past year. I did see Barbarian. Those are some honorable mentions there. There's Barbarian. I didn't see Bodies still. That's one I gotta still check out. That one on Shudder, I forget the name of it. Something Fawn or something. I gotta look that one up. My friend Alexi did a review on it. It sounds really good. So that's another one I gotta check out. So let's just jump into the list. Number 10, I have Sissy, which was on Shudder. And I had a really good time with this. This is the one that I do not have a video up for yet. But it was basically about this girl, and her friends picked on her, called her Sissy, and she's like a self-help kind of like YouTube slash social media person who tries to make all these like positive videos and stuff like that, and it basically turns into a slasher movie, and there's some cool kills in there, and the story's decent. And I was kind of just didn't have any expectations for it, and I was pretty surprised. So, number 10, Sissy. I believe it's still on Shudder. I don't see any reason why they would take it down. So, if you want to check out it, go check it out. Alright, number 9 is VHS 99. There's a decent amount of found footage on this top 10 list, which is weird and rare. Because, I mean, I do like found footage a decent amount, but it's not like a favorite genre of mine. So the fact that 4 of my top 10 are found footage, that's surprising for me. But VHS 99, I'm not a huge fan of this series past the second one. I don't even think I watched all of Viral. I think I fell asleep during like a half hour in or something like that, and never rewatched it. So I still haven't seen all of Viral. But from what I saw, it was not that good. I love the first VHS. I love the second one. 99 is this one. Is this one, right? Yes. 94. I love the Rat Man segment in that, and that's really all that like I really remember from 94. So that one wasn't too good. So after Viral in 94, kind of was wary about this one, and I was pretty surprised. I mean, there's some segments in here that aren't too great. The first segment, I think, takes a while to get where it's going. The one with the band and everything. This is going to be spoilers here. I'm going to keep them as vague as possible for people who haven't seen any of these movies on the list. But this band ends up going to this warehouse where a band years prior to that were killed and basically stampeded on by a fleeing crowd during one of their shows. And this is like known as like a haunted place, so they go there and stuff happens. That's about as vague as I could be. It takes a while to really like get a payoff for the first segment, but when you do, it's very good. Like, the effects are great, there's cool makeup effects and practical effects in it, and that's pretty much all I can say about the first segment. The second one, what the hell's it called? Who knows what the names? We have the girl that goes for a sorority. She wants to pledge to a sorority in college, and she ends up having to do this like initiation hazing ritual that all girls say that they had to do when they pledge the sorority. So I don't know if they all do. They leave it kind of vague, but that's all I'll say for that segment. I absolutely love that one. It's directed by the same director who did 47 Meters Down and its sequel. His name is slipping my mind at the moment, but he has a knack for making you feel very claustrophobic watching his movies. And it's the same thing in the second segment there. The third one's Flying Lotus directed. I don't know anything he's done film-wise. I do know he's a drum and bass / dubstep producer. I've actually seen Flying Lotus a few times in the past when some electronic DJs and stuff would play at jam band festivals. So his music's alright. I didn't care for the third segment here. The fourth one has the same kind of issue as the first segment for me. It was just very overbearing with these young kids and just obsessed over this neighbor that moves in that's so sexy to them. And she's a sexy woman, don't get me wrong. But just hearing these like teenage kids just go on talking about like, oh my god, like she's so gorgeous, and just like filth talk and all stuff like that, it really gets grating after a while. But then we get the payoff, and it's a very good payoff. And we get a creature here that we do not see in horror movies, really, ever. Like, I know there's a movie titled The Name of This Creature. If you've seen VHS 99, you know what I'm talking about. That's about it. I would love to see a movie that has this creature in it, like, now. Like, I would love to see a movie with the creature at the end of this segment, like, immediately. Because that's an avenue I feel that can be explored with horror a decent amount. That we don't really have any movies with this thing in it. But good payoff, long segment of just annoying kids, man. Like, they really are. Like, very, very annoying. And that's kind of a staple with the VHS series up to this point. They have so many segments with just dickhead kids or teenagers or people in their 20s and stuff, but just the most despicable human beings you can imagine. And I don't know, it was grating to get through, but to get to the payoff, it was good, but not worth the whole suffering through their dialogue. The only reason now I'm breaking this up into the 5 segments is just to give Joe and Vanessa Winter, who directed the last segment, To Hell and Back, even more praise. Is because these dual directors, this husband and wife director team, they also directed Deadstream on Shudder, which is on my list. These people, they're on fire, these two. Like, I am watching their career and future projects like a fucking hawk. Like, they had an amazing October between their last segment here in VHS 99 and Deadstream. Unbelievable. Like, I'm trying to get them on the channel for an interview, or at least Joseph. I mean, obviously, Joseph and Vanessa would be amazing, but whatever we could work out. I talked to them once. They're a little busy, obviously, with the movies coming out and the holidays, so I'm going to try reaching out to them again at the end of the month. See if I can hopefully get one of, if not, hopefully both of them on. But their segment in VHS 99, To Hell and Back, is amazing. It's by far the best segment in the VHS 99 movie, and probably the top 3 for me segments in the whole series. Absolutely awesome. A great deal of practical effects and creature designs, and they're just masterful at balancing just comedy and horror together. And we'll talk about that more with Deadstream. But now to number 9, VHS 99. Number 8, another found footage film from earlier this year. It's a Taiwanese found footage film called Incantation. It was on Netflix. I believe that was the only place it was streaming. It was like a Netflix streaming original or exclusive. And it's about this mother and her kid. And she's basically, there's a lot of like a little bit of interaction in this movie between her character and the audience, which I really enjoyed that. That's pretty unique. You don't see that too often, especially with a found footage movie. So basically she's trying to help her kid who's been cursed. That's all I can really say. It went from releasing in Taiwan, I think in February or March, and by the time it released on Netflix a few months later, it already became like the highest grossing Taiwanese horror film in the history of Taiwan, which I don't think I've ever seen another horror movie from Taiwan, so I don't know how big that pool is of that genre in Taiwan, but just that alone for becoming the highest grossing horror film in your country, it's a pretty good achievement. And it's a very interesting movie. There are some issues I have with it a little bit, but I overall really enjoyed it. I talked about it early on in my channel, and I actually had the director stop by and watch the video, my long discussion on it, and left a comment, and we became friends on Twitter and talk every now and then. Awesome guy, Kevin Coe. If you see this, thanks for Incantation, thanks for the talks we've had, and I can't wait to see your next project. So Incantation, number 8, and pretty sure it's still on Netflix, so if you haven't seen it, you can check it out there. Number 7, Orphan First Kill for me. Now, I am a huge fan of Orphan, the original Orphan. I remember I was working in a movie theater at the time. It was 2009, yeah. And I would constantly hear the song that Esther sings, that's the story of love or whatever, over and over and over again with the trailers. And I almost didn't see the movie just because of how annoying it was hearing that song and hearing the trailer over and over again. But I'm so glad I saw it. And I wasn't going to miss it because of the trailer anyway. And that's one of the few times that I had to hear or see a trailer. I usually avoid them. For people who know me in the channel, I don't do trailer reactions for that exact reason. I like going into movies blind as a bat. Shout out Al. And just not knowing anything about it. And I had 2 major concerns about this prequel follow-up here, because I adore the first Orphan. I love Vera Farmiga and absolutely everything. Peter Sarsgaard is great in that movie too. The little girl who plays Max is one of the cutest girls in a horror movie. Anytime she's in danger, I just want to reach through the screen and just beat the shit out of Esther. No offense, Isabel Furman, just your character. You're awesome. But I had 2 main concerns with Orphan First Kill when I heard it was going to be a thing and be a prequel, especially that it was a prequel. And that was, one, her age. I think she's 24, 25 now. She was 22 or so when they were filming it. And I was worried how they're going to make her look like Esther again, like a 10-year-old kid or whatever age she is, right around there. And my second worry with it was William Brent Bell, who brought us The Boy and Brahms' The Boy 2, directed Orphan First Kill. So he has done some good movies in the past, but with The Boy and Brahms' Boy 2 left a real bad taste in my mouth. And for probably most people, especially the second one, the sequel. So when I heard he was directing, I was like, oh, I hope he does something good with this. And when I saw it, absolutely loved this movie. Like, I love Julia Stiles' performance in this also. She's usually pretty hit or miss for me. I like her a lot as Lumen in Dexter season 5. There's a few other things that I'll see her in and I'll say, she's doing a good performance here. Then there's other things like the Omen remake that she terrible in. Not terrible, but just not a good performance at all. And there's other movies I've seen her in that's just not good performances. So she's a very hit or miss actress for me. But she, even though over the top a bit, did a great job with this movie. Isabel Fuhrman did phenomenal as Esther, just like in the first movie. And gladly, my whole worry about her age and how she would look and stuff completely alleviated when I saw the movie. There's maybe one instance, like just with the lighting or something in a specific scene, that I said a little bit, you can tell a little that she's older and stuff. Besides that, with the digital, they had to digitally de-age her. They, trick camera shots and stuff like that, and used like little kids and stuff for like certain shots to make her look small and everything. They did a phenomenal job, and there was never a point in the movie at all that I said to myself, oh, you can tell she's so much older, or that it took me out of the film or anything like that. They handled it so well, and the twist in this movie, not as good as the first movie, but I can't even really compare it. They're two totally different things, really. But we get another fantastic twist in this movie, and I like the way it played out a lot. So, Orphan First Kill, this is the other one that I don't have a full spoiler discussion on. I have a spoiler-free review. This is one I got to circle back to and do like a full discussion on. But so I'll put the spoiler-free review in the description and stuff for this one. But yeah, number 7, Orphan First Kill. Number 6 is Chest. Is a found footage movie that finally just got released on Tubi recently. And shout out to the director, Aaron Irons. I met him on Reddit months and months ago, and we were chatting. Somehow it came up that I had a YouTube channel I just started at the time. He was talking about he's a filmmaker and just finished his first movie, and it was his directorial debut, the found footage film, and he ended up so generously and kindly sending me a screener code to watch it, and I watched the film like 3 times, like in the last few months, like since I first saw it. It's a directorial debut. It's an amateur film. It's a first time, directing gig for Aaron here, but there's a difference between people doing their first movie with a low budget, where it succeeds and where it fails. And for me, a lot of it is for how that person can write to their budget. If they know what their budget is and what they can do with their movie and what they can't do, and the things that they'd want to do but can't do because of budgetary reasons, are able to write around that and figure out ways to get their vision on screen. That's a success for me, and that's exactly what this movie is. It's, if you can put the budgetary stuff aside and just realize that this is, a first film by a brand new director who's trying to get his foot in the industry, and if you can put the budgetary stuff aside, you will see how much love and passion and just everything, blood, sweat, tears, is put into this movie. Like, it radiates off the screen, the love and devotion that was put into this project. And I've said a few times on this channel, any type of urban legend or myths or where they stem from and how they evolve has always been a big interest for me, especially horror movies that dive into that type of stuff. So we have that in here, and it's basically a story about this documentary film crew who are making a show called Dark Appalachia, and they hear this legend of a mysterious chest that these hunters found in a cave. They didn't have anything but their guns on them, so this chest is chained up like you wouldn't believe, chains all over it, so they had no tools to open it. They head back and get tools. They go back looking for the cave in the chest and never found it again. So it became this whole legend of this cave that contains this mysterious chest, and where this legend started from there, and how, as each person tells it as time goes on, how details are taken out or added, and things are embellished, and all that type of stuff. And then they go to try to find this chest, and obviously it's a found footage movie, and their footage is found a few years later. Aaron, I've thanked you so many times that I cannot thank you enough, sincerely, for the screener code, for coming on for the interview. So guys, if you want to see a spoiler-free review on it, I'll put that in the description. I had Aaron Irons, the director, who so nicely and generously gave his time to come on the channel and do an interview, which is great. I will link that also. And I did a live watch party with Nanette once I heard from Aaron that it released officially on Tubi, and I'll put that in there too. So that's like, that video is like my deep dive on the movie. But Chest 2022, awesome movie. Please check it out if you haven't. It's on Tubi, it's free, and like I said, if you can put the budgetary, limitations aside, and you're a found footage fan, because I feel like this is a movie that you gotta be into found footage to like most found footage movies, so it's not really anything different. But if you're not a big fan of found footage, but you do like that whole concept of urban legends and myths and all that stuff, give it a shot anyway. It's not a lot of jerky camera and stuff like that, so it's not going to give you motion sickness, which is a concern I've heard from many people about found footage movies over the years. With the shaky cam and stuff, there's not a lot of it. So just give it a shot. Like, it's an absolutely awesome movie with a great story, with so much just love and devotion and effort put into it by every single person. All the cast by Josh Croft, the producer, who has a role in the movie as this eccentric character, who I love his performance, and just for Aaron for doing everything, directing, editing, effects work and stuff. He fucking bled this movie, man, and it shows. So Aaron, love you, buddy. Hope you had a great holiday and good new year, and thanks for making a movie that made my top 10 of the year, because it absolutely deserves that spot, and I will continue to keep promoting this and pushing it wherever I can, because now that it's officially released, I want as many people to see it as possible, because it deserves to be seen. Number 5. Now these two the next two can kind of be switched around. They're kind of in the same spot for me. But number 5, we have Cactus Jack, who's directed by them Thorntons and starring R. Michael Gull as the titular character of Cactus Jack. Now, I did a spoiler-free review on this. I'll link that in the description. If you go into this with no expectations, and you're not the type of person to get easily offended, because this can be taken as a very offensive movie, just by the racial rhetoric and just all the racial slurs and homophobic. Basically, there's this guy, documentarian, goes to meet with this recluse who hasn't left his basement in 6 months for any reason, and thinks it's just going to be a cool little documentary to make, and then before he knows it, he's basically sitting there with the most disgusting human being on the planet. Like, just homophobic, misogynist, just racist. He hates everything and everybody, and he is just consumed and filled with this hate. And by God, man, the performance by R. Michael Gull in this movie is unbelievable. Like, absolute. It's in my top 3 performances for the year, and I'll say the top 3 when I get to the number 1. But top 3 performances I've seen all year. Like, absolutely amazing how this man, and I got to have him on the channel too and interviewed him, and then me and him hopped on Al Lucard's channel, where one of the Thorntons, the director, was there with Al, so then the 4 of us got to all talk. Just amazing people, and this was filmed on like just a few cell phones. which blew my mind when I heard that. It looks so good, this movie. It's well shot. It's well written. There's really no negatives I have about this movie. I will put somewhere in the description of where you can find it. I know it's streaming on, I want to say Vudu, if not Vimeo, one of those. And I believe it is physically released at this point. So I'll put all the information for it below. But thanks to the Thorntons, thanks to R. Michael Gull for both you guys being so amazing and communicative, and for letting me see the movie early and putting a review out, and for having you guys, Michael on the channel, being able to chat with the directors. Just awesome. Like, if you guys are not easily offended, and if you're a fan of my channel, you should fall into that category. Absolutely check out Cactus Jack. It is a movie that is terrifying. It is a great, deep character study on this one guy, Cactus Jack. And I can't say enough about Gull's performance. Like, unbelievable. So that is number 5, Cactus Jack. Number 4, Deadstream from Shudder. Shudder exclusive. Now, this is why I was breaking down VHS 99 into the segments. Because this is directed by the same people who directed the last segment in VHS 99, Joseph and Vanessa Winter. I already said a little bit on them. I'm not going to say too much more, but just the way that these two can just mix comedy with horror at just the perfect equilibrium. And that is so hard to do, to just perfectly meld comedy and horror together. And they are just proven to be masters at this. The best way I can describe this movie is like Evil Dead 2 found footage style. The best description I can give for this movie. So if you like found footage, even a little bit, and if you love Evil Dead, especially particularly Evil Dead 2 with the comedy aspects, check out Deadstream if you haven't seen it. It's on Shudder. It is the best found footage movie of the year for me, and probably of the last 4 or 5 years. Such a great film. And it deserves all the praise that it's getting. So again, Joseph, Vanessa Winter, thanks for an amazing movie, and I hope I can get you guys on the channel sometime soon. Alright, we are at the top 3. Number 3, Terrifier 2. Man, I absolutely adored this movie. I was a huge fan of All Hallows Eve when that came out, and first saw Art the Clown. That wasn't David Howard Thornton in that movie playing the role, but we still got to see Art the Clown there. And I saw his little shorts, Terrifier and The Ninth Circle, I think it's called. Sorry, Damien, if you ever see this, I got that wrong. But directed by Damien Leone. Then I saw Terrifier, the original Terrifier, the first one, when it was on Netflix, of all things. I couldn't believe after I saw it that it was on Netflix. Absolutely fell in love with that movie. As you all know, slasher films are my favorite subgenre of horror. So when I get a good slasher movie, I am happier than a pig in shit. And this movie, Terrifier 2, just delivered on all fronts. For me, it is better than the original in every possible way. The length of it, I've heard people not complain, but have concerns about it being a 2-hour plus movie, almost a 2.5-hour slasher film. But if the plot of the movie is working, and it doesn't even feel like that long, honestly, for me and a lot of people that I've talked to that love this movie, doesn't feel like it's runtime. Like, it really doesn't. Like, it breezes by. And just David Howard Thornton's performance as Art the Clown. He was amazing in the first movie. But I think now with the second one, and especially with Damien writing much stronger characters for this movie, Lauren Rivera does a phenomenal job in this movie. The brother, I forget the actor's name. I feel so bad. Is it Jonathan? Apologies, man, if you ever see this and I got the name wrong. But the brother, amazing job too. And then just David Howard Thornton just shines brilliantly in this movie is art again. The practical effects, also done by Damien Leone, the director, just like in the first Terrifier, and he did all the effects himself, and they are glorious looking. They are not hyper realistic because they are very over the top, but it fits the tone of the film. Like, the film is over the top. Like, it's not to be taken seriously. Like, this is just a fun, all out there slasher film, like the first one, but with a lot more of a plot throughout the movie, and story elements that come and weave through each other. And I'm sure that it's setting up things for Terrifier 3. But everybody involved, and the executive producer, Steve Barton, I can't thank you enough, man, for coming on the channel for an interview. That was amazing having you on. It was great talking to you. And thanks for helping bring the first Terrifier around. He put basically everything that he had on the line to get Terrifier released. And thank God he did. So, Steve, thanks again so much. Damien Leone, thanks so much for inventing and creating Art the Clown and bringing us these awesome movies for us hardcore slasher fans. And yeah, I can't say anything negative about this movie either. The whole top 5 here, basically, can't say a negative thing. Like, love everything about him. So that's number 3, Terrifier 2. Now, number 2 and number 1, I'm just going to talk about at the same time, because it's really hard to pick one over the other, even though I did give the edge to one. But number 2, X, and number 1, Pearl, both by Ty West. Ty West absolutely killed it this year. Killed it. Like, both his films are my number 1 and 2. Like, that's saying something right there. And I know a lot of people who have them in the same spots on their lists, and for damn good reason. I mean, X is just, I don't even call it a slasher film, because it has so much more to it. Like, if you think of like an 80s slasher flick and stuff, it's just, teens getting butchered by whatever killer. And there might be a little story there, but that's basically it. X just has the story's more important than like anything for me. The story was the most engaging part of X. There's amazing kills in it. There's great effects and gore in it. It's so brilliantly written, man. And like everything by Ty West, I love everything that he's done that I've seen, which is pretty much most of it. I don't think I ever saw his very first movie. But after that one is when he did House of the Devil, which I really love that movie. The Innkeepers, which I really liked that movie. Then upon a rewatch, when I did a video on it, I fucking fell in love with that movie. Like, I adore The Innkeepers. The Sacrament is another great one by him that I gotta rewatch soon, because I don't remember a lot from it. I just remember I loved it, which is a reoccurring theme with Ty West. He had a segment in VHS, which I enjoy a lot. And just with these two movies, with X and Pearl, if you haven't guessed, Pearl's number 1. With these two movies, man, like what he did with the writing for this story, and then just while filming X, him and Mia Goth writing the prequel Pearl, while they're shooting a movie that turned out being the second best of the year for me. It's unbelievable that they were writing the prequel to it while they were filming this movie. I then just went right on to filming the prequel. And the only reason I think I give Pearl a tiny edge over X is just Mia Goth. Like, she is unreal in both of these movies. But God, man, what a performance this woman gives in Pearl, especially. Like, and I can see why some people did not care for Pearl who liked X, because X is a lot more of a traditional horror movie. Like I said, I don't call it a slasher because I don't consider it one, but it is closer to that area. Pearl is not really a horror movie. Like, if anything, it's a deep character study on the early life of Pearl, the character that we have in X, and it has some horrific and disturbing stuff in it, for sure. But if you go into it looking for like a straight up horror movie, I think that's where a lot of people were disappointed with it, comparing it to X. If they didn't like X, they're probably not going to like Pearl. But I do know some who do like Pearl who did not like X at all. So you never know. Like, everybody has their own taste, like I always say. But Jesus, man, Mia Goth, like, I love you. Like, the first time and the only time that I saw her in something before these two films was Suspiria, the remake. And just a supporting character, but she did a great job there. She's a beautiful woman. I thought she was a great actress just from the role in Suspiria that she played. Then I saw her in X and just was blown away. And with everyone in it, Brittany Snow, and it's weird that all three main actresses in X I only saw in one other thing before seeing them in X. Brittany Snow, I've loved since I saw her in Would You Rather from 2012, I want to say. Yeah, with the legend Jeffrey Combs also in that. If you haven't seen Would You Rather, check that out, because that is a highly underrated movie that you don't hear about often at all. Like, I really don't hear people talk about it. I'll put a link to some of these other movies that I've done discussion videos on. I'll put them in the description also, or have them like pop up on the screen or whatever. I'll figure it out. But didn't know her at all except for Would You Rather. Jennifer Ortega, I didn't know. Did I just say Jennifer? Jenna Ortega. I didn't know from Scream 5, because you guys know me, I am not a Scream fan. I still haven't seen Scream from last year. I'll probably get to that soon just to get through it. And then we have the 6th one coming out this year. So just to catch up and just to see Ortega's performance, pretty much. But I didn't see her in anything before this except for the show You on Netflix, the Netflix series. And she was in the 2nd season. And I remember even back then saying to myself, after a few episodes of seeing her in this, I said, this girl's a damn good actress. Like, I really hope she goes on to do, like, really good things. Because she is a good fucking actress. And I was so happy to hear that she got cast in Scream 5. Even though I don't care for the franchise at all. Great for her to be in a Scream movie. I mean, awesome. And then when I saw her in this, when I saw X for the first time, I was looking at her and I'm like, this girl looks so familiar. Where do I know her from? And then a few minutes later it clicked and I was like, oh, from You on Netflix. So just from her going from that show, which is an awesome show, if you haven't seen You, it's not really horror, but a thriller or so. From her going from that, and then getting a role in Scream 5, in that highly profitable and successful series. I know she's going to be in 6, I'm pretty sure. I don't know, I don't follow the news for Scream 6. But I'm pretty sure she's going to be in that one too. Then to be in Ty West's X, to end, like, Jesus, man. Like, this girl is an upcoming, not even upcoming, she's cemented herself already. She is a Scream queen for this age. Like, she is absolutely phenomenal. And all three of those actresses together, plus Kid Cudi, who's great. I call him Cootie. That's like a old joke that I have with a few friends of mine, because I used to listen to some music that he would be on, and so I always call him Kid Cudi, even though it is Cudi. Pretty sure it's Cudi. If not, maybe I was right the whole time. It was Cootie. Whatever. He does a great job in this too. Everyone does a phenomenal job in X. And just when you got to Pearl, and I saw Pearl, just the monologue alone, and I'm not trying not to spoil anything, but that's not really spoiling anything, but there's a one long take, 7-minute or so monologue that Mia Goth gives as Pearl in this movie near the end. And I don't think I've seen a monologue from an actress that just packed with emotion and just such amazing acting, and what a performance, to the point that you forget you're watching an actress, playing a role. Like, you're just seeing the character up there because of how lost she got in that role and how hard she just dove off into the role of Pearl. That whole monologue alone, she deserves a fucking Academy Award. Like, straight up. I said it in my video for Pearl. I've been saying it since. Too bad the Academy doesn't give horror movies any attention for decades and decades now. But she deserves some type of award. Like, any award that's prestigious enough to say that you killed it this year with these two movies. She 100% deserves that. So my top 3 performances for the year are Michael Gull in Cactus Jack, number 3, David Howard Thornton as Art the Clown, number 2, and obviously Mia Goth for X and Pearl, especially Pearl, for number 1. And Pearl was also my number 1 of the year. So, quick rundown. Number 10, Sissy, VHS 99 at number 9, which is funny. Incantation at number 8, which is on Netflix. Orphan First Kills, number 7. Chest on Tubi is number 6. Deadstream, Cactus Jack is number 5, which I will put in the description where you can see that. Deadstream is number 4. Terrifier 2, number 3. Then X, number 2. 1 is Pearl. It's been a good year for horror. Like, 2022 was a pretty decent year for horror, and I expected this to be like a 15-minute video. I don't know why at this point I even try or think that videos are going to be short, because they just never are. So, those are my top 10 for 2022. I'm really hoping we have a good, if not better year than last year, this year for 2023. And speaking more about Ty West, I mean, we're supposed to get Maxine this year. If Maxine's even close to the quality X and Pearl is, might be one of my favorite trilogies in forever. Like, I would have to rack my brain of the last, like, amazing trilogy that's on the level of those. So hopefully Maxine delivers. I have full faith in Ty West and Mia Goth. So I really don't see it failing in any way, shape, or form. But that's my top 10, guys. I will put the description. I'll put the description in the description. Now, it's just an endless description box. You click it, and there's another description box, like those little Russian doll things. You keep taking them apart. They get smaller and smaller. It's just going to be a description in a description in a description. I'm going to put all the links to where you can see these, or just any information on which streaming services you can watch these on. I will put my full spoiler discussion video links. I will put the interviews to a few of them here, to Aaron Irons, director of Chest, to our Michael Gull for portrayal of Cactus Jack in Cactus Jack, as well as Al Lucard's interview with Jay Thornton, who me and Michael Gull pretty much crashed after we finished our interview that night and spent another 2 hours, just the 4 of us talking. Just our Michael Gull, Jay Thornton, just amazing people. Like, and I will support anything they do in the future 1000%. Like, without a doubt. Like, anything they do in the future, they have my full support. And I will be promoting and pushing what they do next hard, because they absolutely deserve it. For that movie, for Cactus Jack. Absolutely excellent movie. And I will put the interview with Steve Barton, the producer of Terrifier 2, in the description also. So, lots of cool stuff. If you guys are new to the channel, or if you missed some of those, a lot of cool stuff to check out, and some amazing people that I got to talk to. And, 2022, man. Not too shabby. Not a bad year. I didn't even mention Halloween Ends, and that's on purpose. I have nothing else to say about it. So, that's not even going to be. That's not even talked about. It's not worthy of being talked about here. But wherever you guys are from, hope you're having a good morning or a good night. I had a poll up on. Well, it's still up on the community section of your favorite Romero film: Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, or Day of the Dead. So far, Night and Dawn are tied. No love for Day of the Dead, which is surprising me, because it is my favorite out of the trilogy, and it's one of my favorite zombie movies of all time. So I'm hoping to see in the next few hours a few votes for Day of the Dead, because just to see it getting some love, man. I think it's Tom Savini's magnum opus of effects work. Like, I think the effects in that movie are just unreal. Like, Savini has never done better effects work than what he did in that movie. With the help of K&B, with Greg Nicotero, Rob Kurtzman, and Berger, who just went on to have an amazing career, like they already did. But once The Walking Dead started and they got on that, that's where they blew up. But Day of the Dead's amazing. So those 3 movies are coming soon, like this week probably, night, dawn, and day. So wherever you guys are from, hope you're having a good morning or enjoying your night or afternoon, whatever it is. And it's only 10 o'clock. I'll probably have a video up later on some movie. But take care, guys. I'll talk to you soon.